Sean is not people.
Huh? Excuse me? What does that mean?
Is he an alien or yeah?
I don't know what that means either.
You're listening to a mostly harmless cutaway.
Mostly harmless. Mostly harmless? Oh, come. I think that's pretty good coverage for this integrated pile of rubble.
Hi, this is Eric.
This is Kat.
This is Sean.
This is Carl.
And this is Caleb.
And welcome back! The curse has been broken. It has been lifted.
Hey, Caleb, how are ya? We're on the same timeline. Maybe things will start going right.
Yeah, except we're talking about these 2 episodes, so yeah, maybe next time.
I don't know what you mean. I don't understand why you're not more excited, you know?
Remember, he said he's playing the Josh role today.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, for those who don't know, I don't know when this curse situation started because it may not have been on MHC. It could have been on RBG or who knows. But I believe it's been in excess of 2 years at least. Like since the revival.
It feels longer than that.
Of the Wesco Production podcast, family of podcasts. I think that's the first time I've ever said that on the air.
Wesco Productions.
Yeah, that's...
Oh.
What?
I forgot I see that sometimes in the little things that you send me. Yeah.
It's always, or should always be in the show notes. It has been almost since the very beginning. Anyway, in 2010. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. It's actually an acronym. Not an anagram, but an acronym for something. Yeah, we're here. It's been a while since we did the previous episode, Rogue. It's been a long while. Like, since Rogue went out, I watched the entire House of the Dragon Season 2 and Acolyte, the one and only Season 1. And watched a lot of great movies that came out this summer. So that's what's happened since the last episode of MHC. But
I have done none of that.
I know everyone was dying to talk about this episode, this 2-parter.
Were we?
I know the social... Well, after the first part came out, The Legend of Ruby Sunday, the old Doctor Who Twitter stream, etc., social media, kind of lit up a little bit, like the old days when people would get excited. But I didn't hear as much after... what's the second episode called? Empire of Death.
That's because the lights went on, the orgy was over, and everybody got embarrassed and just went home without saying goodbye.
What?
That's what that is.
It's happening.
Oh, is this foreshadowing?
Yeah, these are not the Doctor Who spheres I'm in. Yeah, this is something else.
Oh, well. I mean, this would explain so much. I have no idea what everybody else here thinks. I just know what I was basically saying was, not just with us, but with other people, excitement was heavy after The Legend of Ruby Sunday aired. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of seemed like there was a change in mood across the board for people after the actual finale aired.
Why do you think that is?
Well, hopefully we'll discover as we delve into this. So we're covering both. I don't know if I'm going to have to invent an odd numbering system for this.
Oh, no. Let's not go there.
Yeah, let's not do it.
183rd official episode.
Well, on the website, on the Wikipedia, they call it episode 311A and 311B. I think you should post it.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I'm just reading what I see.
Because, I log into all the shows I watch. This is a true story. And the TV Time app the mods or admins can't seem to decide if the Ncuti show is its own series of Doctor Who or it's attached to the 2005 revival of Doctor Who. So it's very difficult for me to check into this show because they're always switching it up.
So
like, is it season 1? Is it season 14 or series? yada yada yada. Nobody knows. It's weird.
I find that annoying. I wish they would stop it.
Yeah, and they consider like the RTD specials part of the 2005 series, but then starting with the first episode of Ruby Sunday, then it's the 2023 series. I don't know. Whatever.
I hate it.
Nobody knows. But who would like to kick off with some of their feelings and thoughts besides yawning on the matter?
I thought that was Sean just getting excited to jump in.
No, I got excited because I just found out that the 60th anniversary specials are finally going to be released on Blu-ray here in the U.S. in December. And I'm going to put that in my cart. I'm sorry, continue.
A Blu-ray. Huh.
This guy is shopping while we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, the interest. Yeah, it's high with Sean.
I'm so sorry.
Take it away, Sean. What are your initial thoughts?
Oh, I have an anagram, or not an anagram, but a metaphor for this, and it's really No, I'm not going to use it.
Oh no!
I keep going back. I keep getting excited. I'm like, wow, this is the beginning of just new Doctor Who, and I even got over Space Babies, and everything between this and Space Babies was pretty much great. I rewatched The Devil's Chord today with my mom because she likes the Beatles.
Oh, wow.
And she didn't really say anything. And for the most part, I have really enjoyed this season of Doctor Who. But the bookends being Space Babies and Empire of Death. And I'm not going to talk about Space Babies anymore, but I know we're supposed to talk about them separately, but Eric, you did mention that there was a lot of hype after the first episode, The Legend of Ruby Sunday came out. And I did feel that because when that episode ended, I was doing a lot of fist pumping in the air. I was so happy. There were still things that kind of annoyed me. Morris! And then it just ended.
But why were you why were you so...
It coincided in time with him qualifying for Social Security.
Wow. But I have questions. Sean, question. What was so fist pumping about this that didn't follow through to the last? Like, what was so exciting in the first one that you just I don't understand what the big letdown.
It was the ending. It was the ending and the reveal that the villain was Sutek, which is a villain from Classic Who, from the Tom Baker era. And this realization that actually all these omnipotent villains like the Mara and the Toymaker and Maestro, they were actually all part of the same. There's a word that he uses in the Devil's Chord, and it starts with a P, and I can't remember what it is. It's like Paragon or something like that. I loved that reveal. But then by the time it got to the end of the second episode, Empire of Death, and we have the Doctor killing Sutek by tying him up with a rope and dragging him through the space-time vortex where he dies. Sorry, this is Russell T. Davies' shitty story writing again. I hate it. And I just completely shut down. And it ruined the end for me, which was actually pretty sweet. And that's when Ruby meets her mother in Starbucks. And I really liked that. And that was and on a personal level, it affected me. But the rest of it was just rubbish, trash. Okay, let's and like when Kate and all those soldiers died, I knew they were coming back. I'm like, they're going to press the button and they're going to come back. They're not going to die. They don't have the balls to kill those people off. Okay, this isn't The Walking Dead where it's like, let's throw a dart and see who we can kill off now. No, they're not going to.
Oh, Cat's favorite subject.
Sean, Pantheon.
Pantheon, that's the word. Pantheon. I like that word. That was a good word. Yes. So overall, this is with some in there, and I can get to it more a little bit later. But overall, I'm just these endings that Russell T Davies pumps us up for and just lets us down. He does it again and again and again. And it's like I walk into it thinking it's never going to happen again, and it happens. And that is the definition of insanity, ladies and gentlemen, when you do the same thing over and over again and you expect the results to be different. And it's not gonna happen. I am now convinced. And this was so bad that the other Doctor Who podcast I do, Doctor Who Gives a Fuck, we just stopped. We said, this is it. We're done. We're not doing this anymore. We're going to do an Inside Number 9 podcast instead. So that's how badly this affected me. It was like it
killed that podcast.
This broken podcast.
It's fair.
So yeah, that's what I have to say for now. Next,
I'm going to go real quick because my opening salvo isn't much, and also because I've learned in the last couple of years that I have to feed the Robo Minister AI. It's crunching everything that we're giving it, and it's working on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my little bit out, which is a little bit similar to Sean, except I won't speak. I'll speak more demurely about my feelings.
Oh, geez.
Demurely.
Professor Eric.
Somebody's been watching Jimmy Kimmel lately?
No.
Keep it cutesy.
The first episode of the two, I was interested. RTD got me to let my guard down a little bit because there's an air of mystery in the first episode. I only remember this because I rewatched it earlier today. And the whole business in the holodeck, whatever, it felt very TNG. But for those who know me and TNG, those are some of my favorite episodes when Geordi is trying to figure out what's going on and he's turning into another creature. Those are some of my favorite TNG episodes because the idea of analyzing a problem, if some device existed like that, I love that. It doesn't make any sense because I was wondering if you had that time tunnel or whatever they called it, time picture time, whatever that thing was called.
Time window.
I was thinking, Unit didn't realize that you could put in a VHS tape and it could like enhance a certain time period. So if you just put in a VHS tape of like a first party movie, like will you be able to like see the sets of Raiders of the Lost Ark or like what happens? Like I would be putting in all kinds of tapes just to see what would happen with this machine.
Well, now to be fair, it takes an entire city to run about 8 seconds of it. So, maybe they have the tech, they just can't power it.
Understood. But anyway, the idea of trying, again, going back to those TNG episodes, my favorite thing was when they were trying to recreate an event that happened in the show, and they were using the AI to, like, see the face or the shadow. Like, that whole concept, that sci-fi concept, whatever that is, it excites me. So even though the machine is, like, some type of... It's almost like it's almost a Deus Ex Machina device in the episode, but it didn't matter. I was like interested, and I was hoping the reveal of either who her mother was or what the deal was with the TARDIS and the thing, behind the TARDIS and whatever. Like oh my god, RTD was really buttering me up. He was really buttering me up, and I was like, is this, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? And then, as the reveal started to happen, so they like said Sutek at the cliffhanger. And I was like, well, wait a second. Because this doesn't make sense. I mean, I know they sort of explain okay, I didn't mean to get into all this already, but anyway, here we go. So, yeah, there's these weird anagram clues, which is almost like a strange Doctor Who trope in of itself. Just anagrams. And so there's a little bit of explanation, and we get more explanation in the second episode. But they literally, like if this was Mad Libs, they could have ended the episode with any classic Doctor Who villain, and they could have adjusted accordingly because there wasn't enough seeds and threads in this whole series 1 or whatever it is. There wasn't enough that really made sense with Sutek. They could have picked anyone from the cavalcade, the pantheon of Doctor Who big baddies. And so that already felt like a letdown with the cliffhanger. I was scratching my head while everybody else was cheering in the Twitter sphere and whatnot. I didn't get it. And then, kind of what Sean was saying, I think, when we get the second part, then the Emperor had no clothes. Meaning Sean is so right. And RTD, in all his finales, especially in Doctor Who and to a degree in Torchwood as well, all his finales, they all run the exact same playbook or template. Always. And I know this because I've revisited some of them recently as well, the old RTD finales. He always blows everything up to 11, like the problem, the situation, and it's always incredibly ridiculous, the stakes and the people who quote unquote die or whatever. And there's always a reset every single time. Every single time. You can't play that card every single finale that you write. And that's what happened. And that is horribly depressing. And also, previously on this podcast, in previous episodes, I mentioned I see there's the other seeds that they planted, that RTD planted. And I talked about some of them in earlier episodes, but apparently they're saving that stuff for series 2 or series 3 because they didn't really address those things, only slightly. So those things, see, I thought we were going to get real answers to some of those questions, but no, that's for another day. So this was just like a side adventure, unnecessary. And I too liked most of the episodes of this series. And I liked the first part, and then it just kind of was like, oh, what was the point? Just to have the same old RTD. And anyway, I rest for now.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and do a reading of my book of poems here about Doctor Who. Yeah. No, I wrote some notes down, and I don't remember writing these notes. The title is crazy because it's called. I thought the episode was called "The Legend of Ruby Tuesday." Isn't that a restaurant?
Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, that is not what the story is about.
Right. I was just making sure. So
it is the Legend of TGI Fridays.
I got it wrong.
Sorry, I prefer Bennigan's just saying I'll let it go.
Oh, okay. Bennigan's, that's the good stuff.
I think, didn't TGI Fridays go? Didn't they go bankrupt?
Maybe. Who knows?
One of them did.
I prefer 57th Street myself if we're talking about these horrid restaurants.
Anywho, so was it just me, or did the Doctor wear all of the past Doctor's outfits throughout these 2 episodes? Or they were like heavily inspired? Because I know at one point he had on a leather jacket. At one point he looked like Eccleston, and then he looked like Tom Baker somehow, and he looked like a whole bunch of things, and he was just wearing different clothes. I was like, what is that happening?
Well,
or am I imagining that?
You might be reading into the costumes a little bit, but there was definitely references to all the eras in that. I don't know what that thing is, the pseudo TARDIS or whatever it is. And by the way, speaking of the pseudo TARDIS or the hollow TARDIS, is that same? Is that why they built that set? Like, was it for this episode? Because I don't know how many of you guys know they released these specials before this new RTD stuff came out over in England Town on the iPlayer. They had these special releases of classic Doctor episodes.
Oh, they're so good.
And they had intros with some of the living Doctors and former companions, and they were in this set. And everyone was like, wow, look at this set that they made. It's like a collage of all the TARDIS interiors. So did they make it for the specials and then use it in this episode? Or was it made for this episode and they decided, hey, we have that thing. Why don't we use it for this?
If you don't know, I don't.
Well, I haven't looked into it.
Well, he always said it was going to tie in somehow. But I just thought that he was just talking out of his ass like he usually does. So.
Anyway, so Kat, there was there was a McCoy sweater and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, he just did a whole bunch of things, yeah.
I want to hear more about your poetry.
Okay, all right, poetry here. So I have Susan granddaughter ? Don't know. What I was thinking. Then unit, and then somewhere I think it says there's a storm coming, and then I put JFC. I assume that meant Jesus fucking Christ, and then I was like, what's next? Bad Wolf. And so, what?
Because when you said storm coming, I thought that was like you were thinking David Tennant, and then I thought you were talking.
No, I was talking about that. Like,
so David Tennant is JFC. Okay.
No, I'm just saying that they said the words, there's a storm coming. And I was just like, what are we doing? Are we going back to that? Are we leaving it alone? Are we just using it? Like, why are we doing that? Because I started spiraling. Like, are we going to do Bad Wolf? Is it going to be something that reaches back to it just took me on nowhere because it didn't go anywhere. So apparently I was taken with the Colonel Winston Chidos. I was kind of sad. I was happy here. And then somebody said something about being the beast. And I was like, are they talking about the beast below? And then as I was thinking about the beast below, they killed Colonel, and I called him Colonel Sexy. So it was a rest in peace. The recording had changed at some time in the episode. And my thought was, and I wrote down in all caps, this better not be a weeping angel. Because I was done with the weeping angels. I'm over them. And then I think I go further. Her dreams, ? WTF, ? It's made this sound before. Harriet Arbinger, what is that? I tried to figure that out. Mara, God, Beast, what? Malice, Misery, Mischief, Loki, maybe? No. And then they came out with Sutek, and I was just like, is this supposed to be like the god set of Egyptian? Is this Stargate? What are we doing? And then there was something about a rat god? And then that was a ? And then I was like, so if he is Set, that means he's Seth. And is it the temple of Set? So is this Satan? Like, I've tried to figure it all out. And then I lose that thought and I write down the word Highlander. And then I came to some conclusion that right? Vampires are actually zombies, whereas vampires are dead and they drink blood, and zombies are dead and they eat flesh and brains. I'm not sure where that went. And then I spiraled into a vampire hierarchy with Interview the Vampire being the top. Then you have Lost Boy, Kindred the Embrace, True Blood, Love. I don't know what I was doing here. Like, there's 30 Days of Night, Castlevania, Dark Shadows. Like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I doing here?
You got bored.
I guess because I don't know why at Bramstock. Like, what Blackula is on here? Like, what is happening?
It sounds like your poetry book is how RTD comes up.
Maybe
with series art.
Maybe
That's what he does.
I can just picture him with some scissors. He's snipping up the paper, and then he starts shuffling it around. Okay, what's my
refrigerator magnets? Refrigerator magnets is what he does. It's the poet. You just throw them on the wall and see what sticks.
He's like Jack Nicholson as an artist in Batman in 1989.
I
there you
question my sanity here. So.
For some reason, I thought he was going to say Jack Nicholson in 5 Easy Pieces. I don't know why. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
It's a great movie.
Sorry.
So I agree with Sean in that, but I think we're disappointed in different ways. I didn't care about this. I thought it was just an overall letdown of the guy, and then all he had to do was drag him through a time, blah, and then he was dead. I didn't understand the motivations for the guy. Like, these things, like, oh, you want to kill everybody on planet Earth. Okay, boom, everybody's dead. Now what? What are you doing? Like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? And then I think another letdown was this whole build-up to Ruby and her mom and all this, and she was just a regular girl who decided not to get an abortion. So I was just like, okay, this is fine.
See?
And
Space Babies portended this.
Yeah. And so I was just like, oh... And she's just a regular person. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't complicated, and I did shed a tear. These are not in my notes I don't know what happened where I went down a list of vampires, but nothing about that. But I remember being touched by it. I remember liking it, but I remember like, oh, we did all this. What are we doing this for? And then it left me to question, like, is this the end of Ruby's run? Will we not see her anymore? Is her story done? Now the Doc goes off by itself. That would be sad because I really like her. Like, I didn't know what was going on, and I guess I was okay with that. But then I'm like, if she comes back, then what did we do it all for?
She'll come back like in the third series finale under the new RTD run when he brings back everybody.
But that's me. That's Cat.
Yeah.
That's a great story. I don't know what the Robo Minister AI is going to do with this now that...
Yeah, I threw too much.
It's going to be interesting.
Wait, we're waiting on Caleb. Did Caleb go?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this one. I didn't like either episode, almost anything about them. Yeah, I've never liked the finales in New Who across the board, pretty much. I think I like Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways, but that was about it. But this is right in that same mold. And I was kind of thinking after Flux from last, or however long that came out, I was like, oh, so at the end of that, Chibnall just wiped out half the universe, and they haven't really done anything with that since. So is RTD, is he going to try to go bigger than that, or is he going to try to go smaller? And he went even bigger and even more stupid, where he, at one point, I think only the Doctor and Ruby are the only people left alive in the whole universe.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
What? Why do that? What is the gain? Doesn't even make sense how Sutek's plan does all that. And then, yeah, everyone just gets brought back to life. I was like, oh, come on. How could you be even more stupid than the Flux? I already thought that was such a bad finale, and this is even worse. RTD loves that mystery box storyline with the companions. I don't see what he sees in it. I don't think it has any benefit. The whole, oh, why does she make it snow? Oh, her mother, she's so important that Sutek, he won't even wipe them out until he finds out what's the answer. Oh
my God.
I need to figure out what that girl's mother is.
Oh, that is so stupid.
It's like, oh God, it is so stupid. It's painful. It's just painful. And Murray Gold's hack music, he's just ramping it up, just making it even worse. I was just like, God, could you get anyone else? Murray Gold, he's got the worst instincts, this guy.
Wow.
I don't fully agree with Caleb on that one, but go on. I know where he's coming from.
Yeah, and the whole end bit with the mom where it felt like kind of like the Return of the King ending, where it's like, oh, I guess we're getting an ending here. Oh, we get another ending. Oh, another ending. I don't know. I was never that interested in any of the domestic plot lines throughout New Who. I think the only one actually that I think really worked was Graham with his, during the Jodie era, losing Grace and kind of the whole season of him processing that.
That was good.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Surprisingly, I think that's the only domestic plot line that I liked.
That's like the best thing from that era.
Yeah. This one, no, I think if they wouldn't have tied it into this Sutek plot and the snowing stuff, maybe it could have worked a little bit better. But the fact that it's all this big, weird mystery, I think just sucked any sort of emotional weight out of it for me. And the fact that we ended this season with still no solution to the snowing bit, I was just like, okay, I guess that's... I mean, if we are going to see her again, I guess they're going to pick up on that, but if not, they're just going to end that as a plot hole. I don't know.
I really do think she'll return, not right away, but in a later finale type situation, I think is when we'll probably see Ruby again.
But, yeah, I've got more. I don't know, maybe I'll just leave it for Eric for now, but... Or sorry, Carl.
Was there nothing new or anything about anything that you liked? Like, was anything?
Really, I don't think so.
Wow. Are you just talking about, when you ask Caleb that, are you just talking about the finale, or are you talking about the whole new series?
No. I'm just talking about these two episodes. Like, there wasn't like, you didn't like a sweater there or anything small. I just feel so bad to hear somebody just dislike the whole entire thing.
Me too.
Yeah.
There's gotta be something small you liked.
I like that we got so much of Mel. I think her scenes with Sue, they were charming.
I was going to ask that question later.
Oh, but that does remind me, all the early scenes when they arrive in the unit tower, and everyone's all happy, they're all hugging and smiling. I was like, why does this feel so fake? I mean, I kind of like Kate Stewart, and I don't know, why does it all ring so false? All this smiling, cheering, and joking.
Can I add to that? Can I just say there's one character, and I'm sorry, I know we all have mostly said our piece, except for Carl. There's one character that I'm sorry, he is a Doctor Who sin, he needs to go away, and I'm speaking of Morris Gibbons. I hate this character.
Aww.
I hate the fucking trope of the child genius, and just 10 minutes ago, I found out that the actor, Lenny Rush, also did the voice of Eric from the Space Babies.
Oh.
Never again. No, I don't.
That was him?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He did that,
That's incredible.
Apparently they said, wow,
I
you're
totally
so good
hear
at that.
it now that...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sean, did you like when he's attacking Sutek and he's got the guns in his cart thing there?
No.
Did you like that? Is that a badass moment for you?
No, I did not like that. I hated that character.
No.
I hated it so much. Hated him so much.
Dear.
I'm sorry. I know that it's a young
There
man.
There goes our sponsorship and grant from the Shriners Children's Hospital. Oh, dear. I don't know if people have seen those ads, but oh, great. There goes our sponsor.
There goes Warwick Davis. Fuck this asshole. Sorry.
Hey, Doctor Who's own Warwick Davis.
Geez.
And Leprechaun.
Oh, jeez.
But I do think I'm a more positive. That guard that Kat mentioned, the one who gets turned into dust first. Yeah, he was smoking hot, and that's not so bad. I can enjoy those scenes.
All right. See? Colonel Sexy.
Alexander Devrient. Maybe we can get him for an interview for the podcast.
Who is that?
He's the Colonel.
No.
Christopher Ibrahim.
Oh.
No, the other one. No, he's the one in the time window.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm talking about the other one.
Oh, the other one. Wait, which one? Because I was looking at their faces while you guys were talking, and there's like 2 or 3 candidates.
The one that Ruby, she says they're from a similar area.
His name is Tatya Nuwal. Tachia, maybe?
Yeah, he's the first. He's the one that walks behind the TARDIS and gets the first Sutek possessed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Isn't that Kate? He's Kate's boyfriend. He's Kate's boyfriend, isn't she?
You better stop it.
This is Sean's fantasies.
No,
I'm put it past the girl.
No, I'm totally serious because I don't remember what episode it was. Maybe it was the giggle, but they're kind of standing behind everybody while there's some sort of drama going on, and they hold hands. That's why when he dies, she basically loses it.
Is this the actor whose first name is Fela?
No, it's Tatya or Tachia.
Oh, jeez.
I'm looking. Yeah, it's this, Eric. I put it in the. Oh, or here. Put it here.
Oh, there it is. Oh, the other Colonel. Oh, there's a whole bunch of Colonels. I didn't realize.
There's no Colonel Sexy.
There you go. That's what it says.
Yeah. Okay. He reminded me of Danny Pink. When I saw him. That's not a racist statement.
I mean, I guess. Maybe.
Oh, he was in Dune. I mean, the new Dune movie.
Oh, Eric, he's your age.
33?
34.
Oh.
And I said age, and I did air quotes, if you didn't see that.
He played Tanat in Dune.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was mildly interested when they mentioned that Sutek was going to come back. I was like, okay, there's some potential there. They kind of amped it up a little bit too much with that, the Harbinger doing that long speech mentioning all the different characters. I was like, oh no, are we going to see all these next season? But once they revealed that he was going to be this big CGI creature, I was like, why make that choice? Why make it a CGI, fake-looking big beastie?
Yeah. I was thinking that too because, the Disney money did really well from most of the effects throughout the series. The effects did not shine in that moment. And that was a weird choice.
And the original Sutek was so menacing, and it barely had anything to do. It would just kind of stand there and speak, and that was enough to be... give you chills. The CGI growling beast is just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't.
Took a lot of the thunder out of those. Yeah. But, oh, geez, actually, there's one more. Sorry, Carl. One more to mention. I'm so curious what you guys have to say about this, because both times I watched it, I was just left baffled. So everything's destroyed. All the planets, I guess, are wiped out. They're all turned into dust. And the Doctor, just out of nowhere, no setup, he shows up on this weird planet, and he shows up in this woman's house looking for a spoon.
Ugh.
And they have this big kind of flowery scene, like it's meant to really mean something. And I was like, what is this? Was this a deleted scene that they just couldn't give up? It was like RTD's baby.
It was the Matrix, man.
Wait, I thought that was supposed to be Susan.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't get that either.
I don't. Whatever it was, and then the spoon thing, I was thinking of, what was that one with Peter Capaldi? The Robin Hood one? Didn't he have a big thing with a spoon in that? You guys remember that?
Yes.
Sylvester McCoy had a thing for spoons.
Well, there you go. I guess there is Mel here, so maybe that's it. But
Can we explain the Susan thing? Was she the child or was she the lady?
I think my theory is that, first of all, she's brought up here and there in some of the earlier episodes, but only in passing. And we're given this huge carrot that what's-her-face is actually Susan. And it turns out she's not. So I feel like us getting to see Susan in the far future, when she may be the only person left on the planet or wherever she is, wherever she ended up, she's dying. And the Doctor gets to see her before she dies. That was my theory. That's what I thought when I saw it. However, that's going to completely confuse everybody else that isn't that familiar with. I don't think that somebody who started watching it this season would catch that. I mean, because he only mentions her a couple times. Well, no, he doesn't. I don't know.
I didn't know who that was, and now that you tell me who she is, it still doesn't land. So
yeah, I'm not sure if I buy it. I like the idea, but I'm not sure if I buy it. Either way, it stood out just bizarre to me. I didn't know what they were doing. I think it killed the momentum, and it actually was making me think if you guys have seen the Zack Snyder Justice League. Near the end of that, there's a bunch of scenes that just feel like they were just thrown in there because Zack Snyder was like, "Oh, I can't bear to lose them. I loved it." I thought the same thing about that moment there. But take it away, Carl. That's me for now.
I just want to get clarity when you said it felt like that. Are you saying that one scene where they were in the tent, the tent spoon?
Yeah,
that was just a scene that they didn't want to cut out. And okay,
yeah, because what was the need of it? What did it add? Just the spoon? You couldn't have found a spoon in that damn memory TARDIS, whatever it is. Where's Sylvester McCoy's spoons? I feel like those would be in there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Real quick, also before Carl gets into it, does RTD have a thing against Time in the Ronnie? Because Ncuti Doctor makes a reference to that episode, and Mel says, "Oh, I've forgotten about that."
I think everybody does. I mean, I don't hate it, but I think everybody does.
Not me. At the time that came out, I watched it a bunch of times because I was so into the new era at the time, '89. But yeah, it's not one of my favorites now, obviously. But I just thought that was a weird thing. Maybe if Josh was here, he could tell me about RTD's disdain for Time in the Ronnie. I don't know.
Oh, there's a weirder line that gets thrown out. Yeah, in that TARDIS.
What's that?
Oh, it's Ruby. What does she say? They see a clip of Pyramids of Mars. Ruby's like, "Oh, what's with all the Egyptian stuff?" The Doctor's like, "Cultural appropriation," and then she makes like an O face.
Oh, there's the true Josh coming out. Yes, because when I watched that the first time and when I watched it earlier today, when he said that line, I felt Josh like breathing on my shoulder.
Admittedly, I felt that too, but my only thing is it felt like another moment of breaking the fourth wall. Like, really, what does that line have to do with the actual reality of the show? Like, it's just, yeah.
It's meta. It's fourth wall breaking. It's intended to
exactly
smite old fans like Josh.
Yeah, and I guess they already break the fourth wall at the end, so it fits, but it was jarring in the moment. I was like, oh, that's not a part of this episode.
Well, there is a lot of fourth wall breaking. I mean, that's a bit of a theme in this whole new series.
Yeah, sure is.
Multiple people have brought it up when the fourth wall breaks happen, and it also made me think, like the Doctor was narrating this to someone else, and that maybe there would be some reveal down the road when we realize that all these stories that we're watching are being told to an unseen character up to this point.
Oh, you're spoiling my end thoughts. Yeah, I was going to say this whole season is the end of time. The first episode.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Everybody's having bad dreams. Yeah, where's...
Oh, dear.
Oh, God, that's horrible. It's so horrible.
That was 3 oh dears. Okay, back to Robo Minister Bot.
Yeah, the ultimate computer.
Working. So as much as I enjoy Doctor Who, you all know I'm still a relative newbie to the history and to the context of the series.
Carl's the only newbie who started watching the show in the 80s, but still calls himself.
Well, I watched the Baker. I watched the Baker era, and then I didn't come back, for a really long time. So I started with Baker, only watched Baker.
You're qualified.
And then I didn't come back until the new series. So, but anyway, to say that the whole season felt loosely disjointed, I kept thinking that it was maybe because there was some history of the series that I didn't know, or that there was, there was some bridge to the loose pieces that maybe because I didn't know, some of the deeper history of the show, that maybe it was something I was missing. I'm listening to you guys, and perhaps it was just loose pieces thrown together, which is kind of what it felt like. What was disappointing, and what I really like about Doctor Who in general, is at its best, the breadcrumbs throughout a season lead to the finale. They're little pieces that they sprinkle throughout the different episodes, good and bad, that sort of crescendo nicely into a coherent culmination for what the finale is going to be. And throughout this season, we've had ups and downs, and some episodes that were really took us back and resonated strongly with the spirit of what Doctor Who was. Some of them we don't need to even talk about. But even throughout those episodes, there was the hint of Twist, Susan Twist, and her variants that kind of popped up. And so I thought that with that much attention within each of these episodes, with that kind of breadcrumbs sprinkled throughout them, that they were going to really build to something solid for the finale, and that all of the pieces were going to come together in a way that was fulfilling, and that made sense of what was going on. Additionally, what I really like about Doctor Who at its best is when the peril, matches what we've seen. The stakes are big. They really, draw together, an emotional crescendo, not just in the characters that we've met throughout the season, but the elements of the story all point to the same kind of thing. And so with the breadcrumbs, with the loose pieces, with the ups and downs over the different episodes, I was like, all right, they're really going to bring this home with the finale. All of this stuff is going to come together, and the stakes are going to be huge. And, this is going to really bring us home, being the best of what we've seen throughout these episodes. That did not happen here. And it was particularly frustrating, because really some of the episodes in this season did a good job of bringing back the spirit of what Doctor Who was. And so we know they know how. We know it's possible. We know with this cast and with these writers, it is possible to really bring home what the best of Doctor Who was. And it is needed. We've all been waiting a really long time, right? And that's how when we first started this season, I characterize it as fans. We've been waiting a long time for them to come back to Doctor Who, to bring all these pieces, because, whatever we thought, there were hints of it, there were flashes of it, and they were on the right track a couple of times in this season. that led me to believe, all right, they're doing some filler shows, they're playing around, okay, they got the social commentary, but for the finale, they're really going to bring all of this stuff together to set us on the right foot for next season, to solidify the characters that we are starting to know, to bring together all of the stuff that we've been watching throughout this season in a way that, kind of bookends it nicely. And as I'm watching these last 2 episodes, it just kept feeling like, this ash. I would see a shape and I would go to grab for it and it would just fall apart. And here's another thing. Oh, this is what they're going to do. And then that would fall apart. Things that I thought were interesting possibilities, they didn't explore. Stuff I didn't want to see, they drug out. And, again, everybody's talking about Sutek. I was pretty disappointed with not just what happened with Sutek, but like you all said, the CGI, Egyptian dinosaur monster, I really was hoping for something more intelligent, something more intellectual, something that we could talk to, as this series ended, and just to have the gargoyle on the TARDIS being upset the whole time, it was really that was disappointing, and that was just the beginning of the disappointments. I really thought, and again, this idea of having the senior be the villain throughout these episodes. Susan, I really thought there was a lot of potential for what they could have done with her, and what her significance was throughout this season. And so finally, when, she manifests, admittedly, she did turn into Riff Raff from Rocky Horror. I was like, why? I don't know what the look just did not quite work for me, these, the possessed beings. I was like, oh God, no. But then that was it, right? I was looking for some intelligence in the villain. And if it was not going to be Sutek, the surrogates were supposed to articulate what all of this was about. And to not, again, she's turning into a zombie. We got a nonverbal Sutek here. Again, there was a lot of buildup and a lot of context and a lot of very potent pieces that they set throughout this season that there were plenty of opportunities where they could have tied it together and it could have been very meaningful. And no, it just all fell into this sort of into the dusty ash of what the finale was. And it just kept happening time after time. I thought, that the little aside where we, jump to the future or whatever, and the significance of the spoon and that character. I thought that something about that was going to weave into what we had seen. And no, that wasn't there. We got metachlorian blood tests happening. It was just like little loose pieces, just kind of randomly thrown together. And the context, like you all were saying, we know what the template is for, the stories now. The stakes are insane. Some little thing is supposed to save us all. The villain is thwarted in the end. Everybody comes back in the end. Hey, yay! So if we know that that's what the template is going to be, at least tie the pieces together in a way that is emotionally fulfilling. And as I'm watching the finale and as I was watching this season, I kept thinking that I was missing something because it was like loose pieces that never really crescendoed. And what should have been the crescendo, like you said, the music, all of that, did not have the emotional impact that it should have. And it just kind of all fell apart in the end. And I was really, really pretty disappointed. Eric, you brought up a great point about the holodeck, right? The overpowered holodeck, enhance, like every crime show, when you're just trying to squeeze that. What is it? Who is it behind the veil? There is a kind of tension and energy when you're ramping up the tool and you're zooming in, and is the reveal in the bottom corner, right? It as a trope, that can work, right? We've seen it before, and we can see how that was. And again, right, we're drawing the entire power grid of the city. Everything's falling apart. This one little piece that is revealed as a result of this is going to be significant, right? Because we're literally almost burned down the whole facility. Everything's blowing up. This is the piece that's going to reveal it. There's an emotional pow that can come from that. And even that was just kind of like, that was it. And so, yeah. So again, time after time, there are these moments. I eat the hollow TARDIS. Even that could have had a stronger emotional resonance. I know where they were trying to do, right, with that, and it was kind of cute as a literal TARDIS as Ex Machina in that moment. There was a sentimental touchstone in that moment, and I was like, I know what they were trying to do, but again, just like when they land in unit, it felt artificial. It didn't really resonate emotionally the way that it's supposed to. So I mean, all season, what's frustrating is we got these moments and we got a couple of these episodes where we know they know how to do it. And I thought that we were going to see the best of them in this finale. And it really just literally rang hollow. The whole thing felt disconnected emotionally, story-wise. All of the pieces didn't come back together. It felt forced, and it did not have the emotional impact at any of the stages that I thought it should have. And it just was kind of disappointing, folks. That's it. So I thought that maybe I had missed something. That there were some elements throughout the series that I didn't see. And I was waiting for you guys to tell me, oh, this is what it meant, and this is what it was. And when she drops it in the end, that's what it signifies. Like, oh, all right. And you all sound just as lost as I am, and when, the crescendo of the demise of the villain involves a leash. I was this can't be. This cannot be how this is going.
Do kids even like this? Like, this is a kid show. You shouldn't take it so seriously. But do they like it?
It's a good question.
Are kids watching this show?
Yeah, I don't know.
And did they respond well to this ending?
See, I know kids nowadays, but I don't know any kids who are currently watching Doctor Who. So.
Maybe they're British kids. We don't know British kids.
Yeah, I don't know any at the moment, any Brit kids.
Yeah, and another sad bit is I feel like there was so much just bouncing around, so much going on that Ncuti Gatwa himself never really had a chance to really shine or have any standout moments. I mean, I guess that profound moment on that future planet, maybe that was supposed to be a standout moment for him, but I don't know. That didn't play.
And see, that's exactly because there have been some great moments with Ncuti as Doctor and with Ruby throughout this season, which really highlighted them. We really got to know as a character and as actors what they are capable of delivering. And when you've got everything in the kitchen sink being thrown at you with loud, music playing in the background, the music should not substitute the legitimate emotional response. If the music is trying to force you into an emotional moment and you can't feel it, but you're not actually feeling it, you can't see it there, that's even more grating. And so between the music, the buckshot happenings, just something else is happening. So you're absolutely right. We're not going to get to see these characters that we have really started to, kind of like throughout this season. We get no time to experience them. And, and again, even Mel, I like Mel. Good to see her again. She it was so good to see her that the fact that we didn't get to see her doing a whole lot still, kept her interesting through this. It was, it was just the emotional connection to her character that made moments with her very, powerful, even though it was happening in the buckshot or just whatnot's going on. So it just, again, if you back up, like you all were saying, there's a stereotypical template that we have started seeing with these finales. And it was in full effect for this one. You're absolutely right. The shape of the template was clear here. But look, if we know that that's what they're going to do, and they're going to kind of ham it up that way, you owe it to us to take the time and give us the characters in that frame to make it meaningful. And that they let us down. They let us down, and they let the actors down for this. So not my favorite.
I think that one of the things that I think reflects, what we're talking about is I subscribe to Doctor Who magazine, and they have a column in there. First of all, anything in Doctor Who magazine, no matter what episode it's current episode it's about, they'll be interviewing the people that are in it. And, David Tennant and Catherine Tate, they're so happy. They're laughing together. They're on set. It's so great to be here, working with Russell again. Okay? And then they give the showrunner, they give him his own column. And all he writes about is how great his episodes are, because he wrote all the episodes. Like he says things like, Dot and Bubble. Every single time I watch it, I what was it he said? I squee or I yell out. No, you don't. Stop it. Your head is so massive, and I can't help but feel this is like reading Trump's tweets or something, and there must be nobody behind the scene is saying hey, could you stop saying shit in Doctor Who magazine? This is marketing here. Just relax, I can't talk to you. I need to talk to Mark Gatiss. Slams the door. Mark Gatiss comes in. They drink 2 glasses of wine. Everything's fine. RTD's back to normal.
Yeah, and it was always such a shame that they felt the need to escalate every season.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm worried what they're going to do next time around. They already killed pretty much the whole universe except for the Doctor and Ruby. Where could he possibly go from here?
They could come to America, make an American Doctor. That would be awful.
I want them to make it, bring back a villain, and I think that RTD did hint at this. I think he said, I may be wrong about this, but I think he said no Daleks, no Cybermen, hooray, I'm all for that. But we're still going to have a recurring villain. I think he said that early on, even before the David Tennant specials came out. So I'd like the idea of Sutekh, but of course, when it comes down to it, it's just an omnipotent villain that you would see in the New Adventures from the 90s. Bring back the Crinoid. Something that is creepy and has body horror to it. We're all into body horror now. I just saw Alien Romulus. I know. But I think that they're... Sorry. Well, I think...
not really, but yeah.
I think it was Kat.
Simmer down, Charles. Simmer down.
Kat asked, do kids watch this? They must think they do. Because in the scene where we have the reveal at the end of that first episode that Susan Twist, which is the actress's name, by the way, Susan Twist, and I swear I thought it was a fake name. Apparently it's not. Because there's a twist at the end, a twist at the end, a twist at the end. Yeah.
Okay. No. All right. Calm down.
When there's the reveal and she kills the guy that works for her, there should have been a whole audience, a whole amphitheater of people in there. And she would have just wiped them all out. Old RTD wouldn't be afraid of doing that. He killed people on the weakest link. and Big Brother. So I would have, I thought that was a little cowardly. Let's make Sutek, do some really badass, evil, villainy stuff instead of just, wring his hands and twirl his mustache and show us his dogs and speak evil. It didn't even work for it. Remember the episode with Diane Rigg, the Crimson Horror? Do y'all remember that?
The Crimson Horror. Yeah.
And it's just, she's just this old lady that's got this little thing living off of her chest, and that's creepy as fuck. Why does it have like an omnipotent, being? I'm just tired of that. And also don't solve everything by just saying a name or, there's been, this is Moffat too, by the way. I think
spinning around all happy and
Moffat did it better.
I guess maybe.
He did it just as bad.
Yeah. But
not always, but usually. Okay, let me try to spin more positively.
Why are we spinning?
I don't know. I'm spinning. So I had a couple thoughts of the future as it pertains to Doctor Who or where we're going. On the one hand, I have a feeling that in this day and age, because the series length, is shorter than it used to be for Doctor Who and other shows, what I think, for whatever RTD's game plan is, this would have been more like a mid-season two-parters in the old 2005 model of a series of Doctor Who.
I don't know about that.
The way they used to always do it. They used to do like a big, like the Zygon two-parter, or they would do a big mid-series two-parter, and then we get on with the big arc. And that's what this is feeling like to me now. In traditional New Who, this would be the mid-series two-parter to just kind of get you jazzed, like the Cyberman two-parter and yada, yada, yada.
Never this big.
No, but you're right, because it's technically the series finale. But I think on RTD's draft board, though, even though it's officially the finale, I think it's the mid-series finale in his grand scheme of things, I think. Because, again, too many things were already set up earlier in this series that were barely touched upon or left hanging deliberately, like the neighbor and other things. And lots of other things.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So I'm pretty sure as we continue to Series 2 and whatnot, they're going to continue down, and RTD has a much, I hesitate to use the word bigger,
oh no,
finale that he's already cooked up, because he's been laying, all the track already, and this is definitely not the big payoff or whatever that's supposed to be. So yeah, this is a mid-season two-parter of New Who. That's really what it is. It's a distraction, and so I'm, and I don't think I'm doing wishful thinking. It's the only thing that makes sense to me right now when I think back on this experience.
That sounds like wishful thinking.
Yeah,
because I mean, look. You see the tease that we have been doing this whole time. This season, there were some really strong characters and really powerful moments.
Yeah, and
it should have led to what we saw in the finale, right? I mean,
right, and it didn't,
and it didn't, and for you to say, well, after another season, then all of these loose pieces.
Because I think that RTD is following his old game plans so closely. That's why it makes sense to me that this is more like a mid-series finale than an actual finale.
I just don't see the connection. I don't see that at all.
Because there's too many loose threads that have already been set up and have not been addressed. And so obviously, I think, because he's not Moffat in this way, meaning Moffat would set these things up like the show Lost, except he doesn't really have anything planned at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like RTD.
But RTD, whether we like it or not when we eventually get there, he does have a plan. He knows where this is going, and we'll see. I have no idea if that'll land.
Is it a good plan?
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, but I guess to transition over back to the episode proper, I'm curious for you, Eric. You're more in touch with the emotions every now and again with this kind of stuff.
Oh, not with Doctor Who too much lately, but go ahead.
You're prone to tear up at things that some of us question.
That is true.
This last little scene here with Ruby and her mom at the Starbucks there. Did that get any tears from you as she's being like, oh, you left me and you pointed out a sign and named me after that road? Were you welling up at all, or?
It was all a nice sentiment in terms of the story and the character, that's for sure. But I was too distracted by all the bombacity and ridiculousness that we talked about.
Fair enough.
It overshadowed what could have been a great moment. There was kernels of goodness in that idea and that story. I'm fine with that.
And kernels of sexiness as well, apparently.
Yeah, it's true too.
Oh.
Yeah. There were little things. There were little things that were likable and big things that were likable. Don't read between the lines. But there was some. But what I try not to think about, not to go back to Star Wars, but what I try not to think about when it was mentioned early in the episode about that scene, and was it supposed to be impactful? And it turns out she's just nobody. Gosh, it reminded me too much of the Star Wars movie I will not name. And not just on that surface level, but just, you can't just play those cards if you don't set things up first.
No.
You got to have a plan, whether it's Star Wars or Doctor Who, and then it'll work greatly. But if you don't set the foundation, then it doesn't land. And that's, I think, what happened with that storyline as it pertains to this story. Because like all the other things that are not that great, I mean, Doctor Who and the other stuff that's come out in the last 4 or 5 years from Disney and other places, the broad ideas of a lot of these things that didn't do well at the box office, they're not bad ideas, but the execution is bad. I mean, the execution of like the beats of the story and the logic of what characters' decisions are and motivations and the events that go from here to here, that has been a mess in a lot of Doctor Who and all these other IPs.
Yeah, but to get to steer back to Doctor Who again, the whole bit with she was ordinary. The only reason that she was important is because we all thought she was. And Sutek, he's just a big dumbass, and he was confused.
That was horrible.
Quite a letdown.
It just played so false.
I'm more stuck on, I got distracted when they revealed that Sutek has been riding the TARDIS this entire time. When you say things like that to someone with a brain like mine, I'm like revisiting all these episodes with the 5th Doctor, the 6th Doctor, the 7th Doctor, the 9th Doctor, the 10th, and I'm just like, my brain is like picturing Sutek clinging to the TARDIS through all these moments, and how Sutek has been along with the Doctor for all these adventures, and you would think that Sutek would then be affected, or he would be changed, or he'd have like new outlooks. Because if you're going to drop a line like that, then Sutek should be different in some kind of way. Maybe still
evil. The time vortex made him crazy, though.
But my point, that's true.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But my point is,
that was all right.
My point is, though, you can't throw things out like that, like it's nothing, because then you have people like me whose minds get completely blown apart.
I feel like they do that all the time. Like when the Doctor, like when Peter Capaldi had to be somewhere for like 50 million years. That's a lot of time.
They do that. You're right, but this was more amateurish than some of those other examples.
I will concur.
Because again, someone could easily substitute Sutek with any other what's his name, Rassilon or whoever, and it would still be the same story because it doesn't feel Sutek-y. It doesn't feel like anything.
No. And I have to ask, when the Doctor pulled out a giant mallet and hit the side of the TARDIS and it split in two, did Sutek split in two, or did he like fall off and like, I got to pick one? Which one am I going to climb on?
Oh God! Now there's 2 Suteks. Oh my gosh! There's 2 Suteks. flying
Yeah,
around.
it's just
Roger Rabbit solution to the problem.
Yeah, I'm really unhappy that you brought that up, Caleb, because I had forgotten.
I know. I forgot all.
What happened with the doctor's wife and Sutik was there the whole time?
Sutik was there for Delta and the Bannermen and did nothing about it. Like, I have to kill all these people now.
But this is what crazy Ming Mong Doctor Who fans do all the time with other things that happen in New Who. That we start rewriting everything, and so I don't like casually dropping major things like this out of nowhere.
No. And why did Sutek decide now is the time to enact his plan? Was it really just because of Ruby's mom?
That upsets me.
And also, and it's not just this episode, but it happens a lot. When they make the big villain into basically a Bond villain or Gene Hackman in the bad Superman movies.
Wow.
Yeah, he's what?
Like, these people in the bad Superman movies, not the good ones.
Oh,
the bad ones.
Okay.
There's good Superman movies and there's bad ones. Anyway, but the Bond villain who, has all this money, all this evil genius, like, why do they focus on these weird cockamamie schemes? Like, in the whole universe, like, this is your idea, Sutek? Really? Is Earth really that interesting? I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense why these why is it? It's like God in the Final Frontier. Like, what does God do with a starship? It doesn't make any sense with these omnipotent beings focusing on the small goings-ons of little human beings.
No.
You cannot compare a Bond villain to a Doctor Who villain. And that's the problem. Because most of the Bond villains...
The Master's a crazy Bond villain.
Well, hold on, sir. Sir, hold on.
There you go.
Most of the Bond villains are crazy sociopaths, and they're actually kind of like out there, and it's like that's the point. And they're kind of tongue-in-cheek, whereas...
You sound like you're talking about Doctor Who right now.
No, I'm not. In Doctor Who, the villains are taken seriously. Like, we're going to take this for real. The Doctor... It's going to be a game changer, guys. It's going to be a game changer. Nothing's been done again like it.
You're right, Sean. Time Flight is high literature.
I probably said that when that came out.
Little Kid Eric, I can see it. Yeah.
Oh, Little Kid Eric had a whole different list of favorite Doctor Who episodes because I still have a place for Time Lash, as it were.
Hey, I'm mildly okay with that as well. I like Herbert.
Oh God, we're all over the place with references today. We could write Doctor Who.
Couldn't do worse.
Not good Doctor Who, but we could write.
No, I think we could write good. I think it could. We could do the.
Couldn't do worse than this. Yeah, and I am curious for you in particular, Eric, because
oh dear, I feel like I'm on the spot today.
I've been the semi-Chris Chibnall defender. It's not my... I don't necessarily like that era, but I certainly don't think it's the worst era of New Doctor Who. And I was very curious if this season was going to... I was like, okay, is this going to...
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up, because this was in my unwritten show notes that I was going to eventually lead to, and I forgot because I was distracted by all these other things.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so I was going to say, even though this is kind of carrying on to my theme of this is like a mid-series finale for Doctor Who. No, I didn't enjoy this two-parter. The first part was okay, second part not so much. But as a whole, for the series, I'm okay with it. Like, all the new stuff under RTD, like if I kind of rate it across the board, like it's one big clump, including the David Tennant stuff and Donna, it's okay. It's okay. Like, I'm not blown away. There's so much other good television right now that I'm more linked into. There's no doubt about that. But I still wanted to see the next episode once it came out, like throughout this whole new RTD run. And I still wanted to see what the next one was going to be. And there have been multiple that I quite liked, with a lowercase L, that have come out this series that were interesting, and we talked about them. And there was a few that were not so liked. Mm-hmm. But I like at least feeling okay about Doctor Who in general. Because I had very little anticipation for the next new episode after the first series of the Chibnall era. I was kind of like, Flux.
Flex.
Flux.
Flux.
Both like.
That was okay. I mean, that was the best of the Chibnall era, but that's not really saying anything.
Yeah.
And so at least I feel okay about it. And I was thinking about this too earlier today because even though I did enjoy this series overall, and I did...
Whoa, you didn't enjoy Ncuti overall?
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm talking about all the Tennant and the Ncuti of the recent times. The Disney stuff. Overall, I enjoyed it. Overall, it was fine. It was pleasant. And I'm happy with that. But I definitely... And I rewatched some of the episodes throughout this series 2 or 3 times, which I did not do under the Chibnall era. So that's a good sign also. But I did not watch any of these episodes 9 times or 10 times like I did in previous new series. So I would like to get back to where I rewatch the new episode 3 times before the next one comes out. I would love that. So overall... it was fine, but we could do better. I'm not overly discouraged at this point.
Well, in that case... Oh, go ahead, Carl.
No, I'm just going to say they've got building blocks, but they've had pieces all along. So if they, start aligning the pieces that they have, things can be great. But, it's up to them to line it up in a way that's meaningful to the audience.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're still excited to see where things go, Eric, are you excited for the spinoff? Because I feel like they did lay in a couple little seeds of what they might be doing with that.
It's about Unit.
Yeah, the Unit spinoff. Yeah.
That no.
It wasn't weird because I thought Kate was for sure dead because she's a hero. We loved her, and I thought when they killed her that was it.
Oh man,
for her.
I never thought that.
I did because I was just like, it seems like I was like, this is my life. I like a character. They're just gonna kill her off. I accepted it because that's the way.
If you want to know my thoughts on future Unit series or whatever it is,
okay, yep, I'll stop talking.
No, it's okay. See, I hope maybe it'll be like Torchwood in the sense that...
Oh, why did you do that?
The way it was set up in Series 2 of Doctor Who was nothing like what the actual show actually was. And that was actually a good thing, initially. And I'm not going to talk about the Star series. And so, if the Unit series is not at all like what we've seen of Unit recently, yes. But if it's very much like what we've seen of Unit recently, then no. Because what we've seen of Unit in this new series with Ncuti and everything, it feels like Sarah Jane Adventures. And I'm not saying that's a bad show. I'm not saying that's a bad show. I'm just saying that's not what I want the next spinoff to be. If it had a Torchwood feel, like the good Torchwood episodes...
I don't want it to be depressed because I feel Torchwood...
I'm not saying it has to be depressing, but what I'm saying is a little bit more to a slightly older adult demographic, a little bit edgier, but like the good stories of Torchwood. If it had that tone... I wonder if
Colonel Sexy would be...
If it had that kind of tone, then I could be here for it.
Caleb, see where I'm going. Yeah.
We'll just have to see what happens whenever it materializes. But if it's like what I've seen, no. Because the Vlinks or whatever, he is too much Mr. Smith. No offense, Mr. Smith.
Even worse.
Or is that what his name was?
Yeah.
Morris Gibbons.
And like, no.
13-year-old boy genius.
No.
Yeah. Where's a teenage investigator across the road?
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. So, no, if it's like that, if it's Sarah Jane Adventures for adults, I'm out. I am out. That'll be like the Australian animated K9 series.
K9.
I will be out. That's what it is. Don't Google that.
Okay.
Don't do that. You'll be on a list. Don't Google that.
I'm with you, Eric. I don't need any Unit Adventures Tower. I don't need that for its own series.
No, absolutely. It needs to be like Torchwood, how we all thought it was going to be something because of what we saw in Doctor Who preceding it, but then they went a different direction. And so if hopefully some supported unit series goes a whole different direction that we don't see coming, because that would be better than what we've seen so far.
But did you catch the weird little setup line they had for it in here?
Which one?
I think Kate Stewart. I think she's like, oh, it's another evil genius with alien software, and she's like, God knows we stopped enough of them, except for the obvious. And then it cuts to that Morris Gibbons, and he's like, we'll get him.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, who are they talking about?
Well, I know a lot of people didn't watch Alias, the series from a young J.J. Abrams, but you see, Alias was also a really good show in the first couple seasons. But then they did what all the shows started doing in the aughts, like CSI and everything else. They started off grounded with interesting stories and arcs, and then in the 2000s and beyond, for some reason, with major network shows, they would decide, like season 3 or season 4, we got to revamp everything. I mean, they did the same thing with Buffy.
Yes.
And then they're like
sister, and
or they did it with Knight Rider when they got like the upgraded kit.
That's too old for a 33-year-old to know about.
People in the room will understand because they were in college when that was on television.
No, I wasn't.
Damn.
Shows. I'm sorry, grad school. So I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He would have said he was in his 50s when it came out.
Back in my day.
And Carl was exactly the same age. Carl was 25.
I was there. I was there for Super Pursuit mode.
What?
Well, see, I was a kid, so it was cool, but it's not cool looking back. Anyway,
it wasn't
Alias, back to Alias. They decided it's season 3 or season 4. We know that what's his name is going to blow up later and become the voice of Rocket the Raccoon. Because Bradley Cooper was like a third string nobody when he got started on Alias, and he looked.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He looked like he weighed like 140 pounds back then. But anyway, Alias they completely upgraded like their headquarters and all these crazy futuristic Tony Stark like screen monitors.
Eric, is that on your end?
Show, huh?
Does that sound on your end?
Oh,
it's a dog.
Yeah, you gotta. You just wait until that's done.
Hey, stop eating aluminum cans.
What type of dog eats?
Eric always does this. Like,
listeners don't like that.
It's Pet Sutek.
Actually, I'll send you a picture of my dog's face later because it does look like Sutek. If Sutek had a kid with Sub Kenzie.
Okay, where is this?
Oh, but my point is, so that I first noticed that phenomenon heavily with Alias, and it's happened in a million other shows, like where CSI they have again Tony Stark financed them, and it's unlike any CSI that exists anywhere in this century, and that's what the unit headquarters looks like to me in this new series of Doctor Who. I'll take care of the dog in a second. And so, no, I never want any of that in Doctor Who or anything.
All right.
Great conclusion to that thought.
Yeah, just since you mentioned about the J.J. Abrams, I did have it in my notes. I wrote, with the whole mom scene when we see it in the time window, and they keep pointing out like, oh, why is it like glitching out? And she's wearing this bizarre hood. They can't see her face. They're like, oh, she's pointing at us. And on the second viewing, I was like, was this a J.J. Abrams situation where they didn't write out the conclusion? They just wrote mysteries just to thrill people and slap together something at the end? Because it really does feel like they lied a little bit with the way that they filmed this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You're not wrong with that assessment, because I had my own version of that thought, and that's kind of what I was thinking about when we were talking about Star Wars earlier and why it was bad writing in the new trilogy, because they're just making stuff up, which, no, don't do that.
And to do it in one episode or 2 episodes, it's not like he did in the beginning of the series and changed his mind. It's like what happened there? It's so strange. But
I guess it goes with the snow.
Yeah.
No, I feel this with Doctor Who all the time and other properties. I wish I could really be a fly on the wall in some of the like producer meetings and whatnot to hear the unvarnished truth for myself, not the stuff that they say when they're doing their media campaigns. Like I wish I could really hear how these conversations go when someone pitches something and they're like, "Well, what about this?" And because I don't know. I'm curious because you're absolutely right, Caleb. It makes no sense.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've got more.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Good talk.
Sorry.
Let's do it.
Sean's half naked, but it's okay.
There you
So
go.
am I.
I'm half naked too, by the way, Sean. It's way hot here in BC. Goddamn.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay.
Okay. We were talking about Kate Stewart before. I just have to point out her death scene. Which, by the way, that scene when everyone started dying, it was so obvious that they're going to do a reset button. It was kind of like, oh, why try to make it so dramatic? Like, Kate Stewart has this weird bit where she's like, oh, I know you'll fix it, Doctor, because I have hope. Birds will sing again. There will be birds. It's so over the top, and I'm just like, what?
There will be birds.
Birds are not real.
Oh my god.
Birds will sing again if you.
It's like he knew he was going to bring her back.
I also thought they missed an opportunity for an emotional punch when the Doctor's watching the worlds repopulate after the death of Sutek.
Mm.
And, they're going through the different worlds that are coming back into existence. If they had just touched a little on Scarrow right at that moment, I think
I felt like it was supposed to go there too.
I was surprised that they didn't give him a moment for that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that reminds me too. Didn't he have a line in here where he was like yelling at Sutek, talking about he was the last of the Time Lords still? I was like, you're still using that last of the Time Lords thing? I thought we got rid of that after we moved away from the Time War. And he's not even, because the David Tennant one's out there.
Oh, well.
True that.
Yeah.
No, honestly, yeah. I thought that stuff was behind us.
But why? I mean, isn't he always going to be the last of the Time Lords, though? Like, I mean...
No, I really think something is going to happen with Susan in series 2 or 3.
I'm sick of Susan at this point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they're not doing it well, but no, that's where they're going. It has to be. There's no reason why they do.
Caleb was right before Eric. You thought that Mavity was a clue to that something was going to happen.
Oh,
I didn't forget. That has to be, or no, if this is written correctly and competently, that has to be important.
Well, competency, I don't know.
Because for it to be a throwaway joke, no. Because they've hammered that and other things too much, which is why, again, there's something about the fourth wall breaks. There's something about the changes having a permanence that they don't normally have. Again, when the butterfly thing happens, the stuff with Susan being mentioned, it's not. I don't believe it's just being mentioned to be some weird bad wolf.
Bless your heart.
No, I am giving RTD the credit that he's not that much of a hack.
Have you seen The End of Time?
Yikes.
Don't get me started. But I really don't think we've heard the end of Mavity. I really don't think. Or the implications of what it actually means.
Yeah, no, I think it's done.
No, I don't think it's done.
The Stolen Planet. Come on.
I actually remember that one, Stolen Planet.
I don't. It's the second. I thought it was the second part, but just the part where they're all in the TARDIS, pumping away to make it drag all these planets. Just, I'm not going to sing.
Oh my gosh!
Say something really nasty. But,
I blocked that one out, I think.
See, this time they're going to have to grab all the different galaxies and tow them into place because they always have to one up.
The multiverse. He'll be grabbing a bunch of universes.
All right. No, thank you.
But you were talking about competency there, Eric, and I'm curious what you have to say about this. This is another one that I thought was like maybe a deleted scene that was inserted. Partway through this, they're just like, oh, how can we solve this situation with Ruby's mom? That's what we need to do to save the universe. And then all of a sudden, a Deus Ex Machina, her little time window screen lights up. And it's this video clip with that Roger Appleyam guy from 73 Yards. And we get this bit that was never included in 73 Yards, never referenced, where he was making everyone do mandatory DNA testing.
Yes.
It was like, that was the only time that they do to 73 Yards. Why wouldn't they set that up? It was so bizarre to just... throw it in there.
What do you mean? Why didn't they have that in the previous episode?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was even the interview that we saw her watching. Why wouldn't they just let a line slip in there instead of just throwing it in here wantonly?
That's actually a good question, because you're right. It could be down to poor editing, or maybe whatever the shooting order was for these episodes, because you never know, maybe Mel was only available at the very beginning, and this, I don't, but that wouldn't make sense either, because that would make it easier to reinsert. That's a good question. There's no real answer.
Maybe it's for the spinoff.
Maybe.
The fact that there was that, and that line was interesting to me for other reasons.
Oh boy.
Not because of this.
Pray tell.
Right. No, but this has been a curious thing that I mentioned before on MHC, this series, where obviously we're being hit over the head with a lot of RTD ideology, which is, it is what it is. I mean, he's the same RTD, just unleashed. That's fine. I'm not that bothered by that in particular. I'm more bothered by the bad writing. But there's been moments, and that was one of them, where it felt weirdly like a page out of Sean's book. Sean Says the Most Conservative Things. And there's these little moments in this new series where, like I said, the Space Babies episode is very weirdly very pro-life. And that is like a theme for Ruby in general, being very pro-life, pro-adoption, and with her adoptive mother. And then there's this thing about the evil DNA testing, which sounds like it's a dig at tyrannical governments who could be of different stripes, depending on the situation. So these things have piqued my interest, just because it's like there's like the obvious agendas in New Who, and then there's the sub-agendas, and I don't know what to make of the sub-agendas. I just have a bunch of question marks, but they're there. And the fact that scene is even like a weirdly inserted scene, it just raises so many questions for me, and I don't fully get it. And again, I'm hoping this makes sense in Series 2, Series 3 of New Who, but let it not be like the new Star Wars trilogy where you think all these amazing things are being set up, and as we've said a million times, there really wasn't a plan. It's just Doctor Who Series 6 with the Wedding of River song.
Oh,
let it not be that. That would crush me. That would crush me so badly. If
Eric,
this ongoing arc of RTD turns out like Series 6 of New Who, where the silence and Nixon, and it all seems interesting to me in Utah and jumping around, and then for it to all culminate in WTF? No. Oh God, that could break me. That could create a new hiatus for me on MHC if we go down that road of disarray and untethered threads. I mean, they even reference back to the damn threads from the Goblin episode. They referenced the Goblin episode so many times. Oh man, let it all not be nonsense. Please let it all be nonsense, because that could break my new Who back.
Yeah, this wasn't in my notes, but you just triggered it. Yeah, those little tales of the TARDIS, when we saw that remembered TARDIS, in that thing, it kind of made it seem like it was like a dream, like they could just return to this imagined thing. And I was like, okay, they did some cute stuff. I actually was tearing up a lot watching those. I thought they were really emotional and well done.
Oh, wow.
But to actually put it in real Doctor Who, to try to make it some sort of canon, and he keeps like telling Ruby, like, oh, it's powered on your memories. Keep remembering. I was just like, oh no, this is getting too cartoony. So yeah, I thought that was too bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna, this is like a World War III Aliens in London. That's what this two-parter is to me, which is, I love Series 1 of Doctor Who with Christopher Eccleston, and I just go, yeah, we're just having a dalliance with these Slovene.
That's fair.
I don't let that mar the whole Series 1, which I really love. I've watched it again recently 2 times, and I still love it. And I have made my peace with the Slovene two-parter to where I just let it wash over me and I don't respond to it while I watch it. And, I'm kind of doing that with Love and Monsters as well, letting it just wash over me and not focus on the pavement slab.
Oh, God.
So I'm giving that treatment to this, hoping that there will be Empty Child or some other goodness to come with Ncuti.
I got my fingers crossed, too.
Oh, there we go. It's very cheery.
But I do have two more things. I'm sorry.
Oh, dear.
Hard to keep stretching this.
Yes, Lieutenant.
You're Columbo today.
Oh, wow.
We're like RTD. We like to give all these quiet references to our other podcasts, whether the audience knows it or not. By the way, listen to the Best Picture podcast if you want to know what the heck, why Five Easy Pieces keeps getting mentioned. Listen to the Columbo Confab and be the millionth listener to that podcast, and Novice, Elitists, and Sci-Fi Party Line. If the feed is still live, hit it all up.
It's alive.
It is live, thanks to Carl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And maybe Caleb can double resurrect Sci-Fi Party Line as well while he's at it.
We'll see. Oh, but just since you were mentioning things being alive, that ties into one of my last things there.
Uh-oh.
So at one point, the Doctor, he looks out of the TARDIS and he says, "Oh, every sun is dead. The universe has come to a halt." And I was like, okay, now I'm beginning to really not understand Sutek's plan here. So I thought that it was just every time they landed, they left one of those Susan Triad people, and she was spreading the dust, killing all the humans.
I don't know.
Was the Doctor landing on the suns? Or is it just complete nonsense?
I feel like that line is supposed to mean something else. I feel like RTD is trying to weave in a bunch of other meta signals, but he's being really coy about it, because that sounds like another reference to this theme of life and things need to continue to live and not kill children. That seems to be the overarching theme of this series, and I don't think we're done with that theme. I think this is RTD's. See, substitute Sutek and everything we said and put RTD there instead, because all the same comments are applicable, which is, where is RTD going with this? What is this plan? He's being the Gene Hackman, trying to create New California. And, well, that's actually a good movie. But, okay, think about the actor we can't talk about anymore who plays Lex Luthor in Superman Returns. He wants to create, like, New Manhattan or whatever.
Oh, no.
Is that what RTD is doing, or what is he doing? Is he a genius or isn't he? That is the question.
No, most definitely not. And that brings me to the last thing. Just the whole Mrs. Flood thing. I don't get what he's doing there, and I even thought,
I feel like he's pulling a Moffat or something.
Yeah, because as they're listing all those different names, all those different types of different gods, one of the ones that they mentioned was Dread. And at one point she says to that old lady in the bed, she's like, "Do you believe in the power of dread?" So I was like, "Oh, is that who Mrs. Flood's supposed to be?" Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I don't care. I don't like breaking the fourth wall, and whatever they're doing with her, it's putting me off.
It's a Judge Dredd crossover in the future.
That'd be a shame. Although it is British, so I guess it makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I don't know. I feel bad being such a hater on this. I usually try not to.
No, don't feel
I
bad.
usually try to think of something positive, but
don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
Don't worry.
When someone says something bad, don't go, "Oh, just stop it."
I got to do it.
I'm sure we're going to have an episode 183.1 where Josh is going to just have a conversation with me about the State of Who, and he's going to have gleaming rave reviews.
Oh, he loved this one. Yeah, I'm sure he did.
No, he won't.
I'm
He's
sure
going to
he
be
did.
over the moon. You watch.
He's preparing a written statement as we speak.
It's all glowing. I was wrong about RTD.
He's either going to rave or the episode's going to be called In Memoriam, the Eulogy of Doctor Who.
No, that's too final.
Yeah, I Retire Part 3.
Okay.
Oh, no.
We lost one. Yeah.
Oh, that was just so funny to me on multiple levels. But anyway, okay, we get to rate this episode or the two-parter. What's the unit of measure?
What?
Oh,
there's so many things to choose from,
but none at the same time.
Ruby blood tests.
Colonel Sexy's. Mm-hmm.
Question marks on that the vest that Mel was sleeping on. Drips of drool, maybe too.
Annoying dwarves.
Miniature segways.
Oh, I did love the miniature jukebox in that remembered TARDIS. That was cute. That was a cute detail.
Oh, you know what's weird about that little TARDIS? Like, at first I thought it was weird. You guys know I have this thing for miniatures. And when there was the miniature Jodie crystal thing in the floor, I was thinking about the Master with his minimizer or whatever it's called. I was thinking about Planet of Fire, and I always loved like all the miniature stuff that went on with that episode. Wasn't Perry in a box or something?
Yes.
At some point.
And she sneezes.
Yeah.
I love it. And that's what I was thinking about when I saw the little Jodie diorama that was there on the floor. And I didn't notice until we were recording right now and I had the episode playing, but I didn't even notice that right in the center of the ceiling is an upside down Fourth Doctor TARDIS console just sitting there like it's a ceiling ornament.
Oh.
And that's ridiculous. And then surrounding it is the walls of the Tennant Eccleston TARDIS. And yeah, there's all kinds of, I guess there's cool little things all over that set.
I knew what they were going for. They didn't utilize it.
True that. But what was our unit measure again?
Spoons.
Yep.
Spoons. Oh yeah, spoon. Big oversized spoons. That always makes me think of Filipino food.
And not the Matrix. Okay.
Be quiet, because I'm gonna rate this episode.
Oh no, the abuse.
I particularly like the bargaining. That's
I know, right?
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
You take the bone, and let's leave it at that. Okay, here we go. Oh man,
man.
As a combined two-parter, I'll give it a 2.5. But if this all turned out great, I would have given the first part like a 3.5, and the second part like a 1.5. But overall, you guys don't have to do all that extra rating. But overall, I'll give it a 2.5.
All right, I'll go next. Out of all the shit that I recorded, I really wish this was the episode that I got really fucked up on and I couldn't finish. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I'm going to say one good thing about this. Actually, no, there's more. The good things that you guys have said, all of you, I kind of agree with. And I have just one other good thing. At least it was better than Space Babies. And so I'm going to give it a 2, and a lot of that is for the first episode, the first half. The rest was just, somebody do something, help me, please. That's it.
According to my notes, I put 5 orange stars for The Legend of Ruby Tuesday Sunday, which is weird. I wonder, are those stars for the show, the episode? But the orange also has Avengers and a side eye. I'm not sure what I was thinking.
Think about vampire movies.
You could also be reviewing the food at Ruby Tuesdays.
Have I even eaten at Ruby Tuesdays? I didn't know it was a restaurant. Okay, I don't know. What I do know is that I like the first episode more. And the second, 3. I'm just going to do 3. It's easier. Middle of the road. Yeah. 3 spoons.
I'm going to be the grump. I'll give it a 1.5. If it was just one episode, I feel like I could have bumped it up to a 2.
Wow.
Because it had a decent pace. It kept things moving. Even though I was getting more and more confused as it went on, it wasn't like it was super slow and boring. But just too many things left me scratching my head and annoying me. So yeah, 1.5.
I can't believe you gave it the same rating that Sean gave Love Story. Spoiler for the Best Picture podcast.
And Space Babies would be a 1, by the way. So yes, this was above
Wow.
I like Space Babies more than this, probably. But anyway.
Oh,
Space
God,
Babies with that when we saw the back of that ship open up and all the methane came out and it was shaped like an ass. And I felt like he was punching me in the face at that moment. So
You see, I didn't take that episode seriously. That's why I can smile and laugh right now.
that's fair. How about you, Carl?
Yeah, 2. I'm giving it a 2. Like I said, there were pieces,
Wow.
but it was just buckshot. It was just stuff all on the walls, all over everywhere, and it didn't come together. So.
Too bad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that everybody?
Not Josh.
Oh, no.
Josh would have gave it a 1.
Josh had something come up in real life. He was supposed to jump in at the last moment out of a cake. But in real life, he did have something that came up. But don't worry, we'll have a follow-up episode where he will glow on this
There's
episode.
always a Josh. There's
This would be
always a
his
Josh.
favorite.
There's always a Josh at the end. I'm sorry. I watched that today and I can't get out of my head.
Before we close it out, I gotta go with my theme that nobody enjoys of rating the costumes.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And I know we have the Fonzie costume, and I know we have like another version of the Doctor's like army man.
Oh yeah.
Costume that he
Weird.
did with the ambulance episode, and it's a classic. I like Grease. I like Happy Days. I like American Graffiti. So the Doctor's costume is going to be 4 bombastic finales out of 5. And I don't even know if we ever rated Ruby's outfits or the companions' outfits. But she had one in particular. I'm not going to say which one, but that was a 5 out of 5.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You don't know. She had more than one costume.
I know the one you mean. I know you too well.
And the Doctor also had like a Rey costume as well. But anyway, Rey from Star Wars.
By the way, wasn't it kind of funny that the two of them had their like military garb on in the desert worlds? But then there's Mel with her like hot looking sweater on. It looks like she was like boiling up in there.
Yeah, I guess they didn't have the budget for Mel. She had to bring her own clothes to shoot, and no one told her to bring Desert Safari.
I feel like I'm really sorry. I know that we basically wrapped everything up, but I feel like I do have to give a huge shout out to how well they handled the Mel character. And this includes both the earlier unit episode with the giggle and this story. Because there are moments after Colonel Sexy or whatever his name is killed. Mel is going with the Doctor to, I can't remember where they're going. And he loses his temper. He loses it. He loses his cool because he's responsible for someone's death. And Mel has to basically placate him. And she said, look, there's more important things to do. There's little things like that. And I still really appreciate the fact that this Doctor loses his cool sometimes, and he's afraid, just like all the rest of us are. I'm going to throw that out. That's just and based on how I think RTD was probably good friends with Bonnie Langford. I don't know if it was through fandom or through whatever. And I think that he really felt, and I think that he was right. I'm actually saying he's right about something. I think he was right in thinking that Mel needed a redemption from what they did with her in the McCoy era. And technically the Colin Baker.
I think this is a kind sentiment, and I think you're right. And RTD, this is one of his strengths, like he did with School Reunion and certain other, and Joe Grant and the wedding of Sarah Jane.
Oof.
No, RTD is good at paying his respects to the companions that we grew up with, and it is to Mel's benefit that she did not kill Shooty with carrot juice and an exercise bike. Definitely, this is better than that. She wasn't wearing an 80s Jane Fonda aerobics outfit or a headband or those bright 80s colors.
Lost like 50 pounds in between episodes. Yeah.
So, oh dear. Let's not bring eating disorders into this. But no, but all jokes aside, I agree with the positive things that Sean said. No, I don't know if I've ever brought up the kid perspective of being in England when Bonnie Langford was announced, because I was a kid in England when she was announced, and at the time, Bonnie Langford was really popular in British television in general and theater. She was like a local celebrity, so to speak. I mean, in the English way of thinking about it. And, it's announced that she's going to be the new companion. That was actually exciting because in those days, like they did in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, in England, it would be like an event, like choosing lottery numbers live on television. Like they would like break into programming and like someone would be at a lectern on a podium and announce, like it was like the NBA draft, like the new companion is Miss Bonnie Langford, woo! And I was like a little kid, before seeing any of her stories. So I just want to add that anecdote. It was a big deal until it actually aired, and then it was a confusing deal. But anyway.
But yeah, just to follow up on Sean, absolutely, I think it's great that they brought her in here, and she helps elevate this thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess sort of like in Power of the Doctor as well, when they brought in Ace and Tegan.
Yeah,
that boosted that episode for me too.
Yeah,
I just want to bring up again, they did well by senior women in the finale and through this season of Doctor Who.
It's true. It's very true.
But, the ladies were interesting. They weren't just thrown in there. They really had some, funny, touching, important lines, sufficiently scary when necessary. I thought they did a great job with the senior ladies all season.
And this is not a joke. Was it during the Flux the greatest thing that Chibnall ever did for Doctor Who? When they had that like Companions Anonymous meeting? Was at the end of the Flux, wasn't it?
Yes.
No, that was Power of the Doctor.
Yeah, you're right. Caleb is correct.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, Power of the Doctor. But it's still Chibnall, right? And I know it's kind of just tacked on to the end of the Chibnall era.
Man.
But it is still a blessing to have that scene, and especially because of William Russell.
Loved it.
R.I.P. Yeah. I think he passed between recording episodes of MHC. And so at least he had that moment on screen, canonically, to acknowledge like the origin of Doctor Who. That is a Doctor Who blessing from a fan perspective.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we were doing outfits. We were rating outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked Greaser Shooty. I thought that was awesome. I also liked Stargate Ruby. That was impressive.
Oh, I could see it.
I was going to hear a 7 of 9 Ruby, but
she was dressed like Stargate. I mean, that's
true.
what they were doing.
True.
Are we using the same metric? What are we doing for clothes?
I just said 5 bombastic finales because I couldn't do anything.
I will concur on the bombacity. I just thought it was fun for both of them.
Hell yeah.
Kat, you want in on this outfit?
They were nice. I don't really have anything to say.
Kat never has opinions about clothing or fashion.
No.
Not this time. I made a comment earlier, but I'm over it.
I heard you.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I just vote present. Yeah.
I'm just so glad we got to record together.
Absolutely.
Sean, what would RuPaul say about the outfits?
I think that I don't remember the outfits. I don't really know.
The Doctor has his Fonzie. He has his army man, and then he kind of brings it back to like his original shooty Doctor costume with like the tan.
Oh yeah, I like that
trench coat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Ruby,
she's got a half suit thing going on, half jacket top suit, striped bottom, and then there's
like Sonya from Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
I think that RuPaul would say about the Doctor's Fonzie outfit, I'd say, "It's so good, even Mr. C loves it." Or is the bus still running? I don't know. Okay.
Hey, Drag Race fans will understand what the heck that just meant. Don't worry. We have a devoted segment of MHC who also watches RuPaul's Drag Race.
Big crossover.
Hey, they love the Maestro episode. I'll tell you what.
Hey, yeah, no, that's a legitimate comment. That is absolutely.
I know.
That
I
is
only say
absolutely
legitimate
true.
things on this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, hey, is the London Eye still in England? No, it's not, right? They took it down?
Crickets.
Why are you asking this? What do you?
I don't know. The big Ferris wheel is what he's asking.
Yeah. The only reason I asked is because the last shot they show is whoever the mystery lady is talking to the camera, breaking the fourth wall. And you can see the London Eye there by the River Thames in the background.
Sure.
Maybe it was just shot back then. I have no idea. Or if it's an alternate Earth.
Should we rate her outfit? What was she wearing there? That was just...
She was wearing... she was dressed like a Frost Princess or like the White Queen. Don't forget there was a White Walker version of Susan Twist.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. She was the Night King, or whatever his name was.
Was there snow there in that last scene? I can't remember. Was that?
I think it was, and she was wearing an umbrella. I mean, wearing an umbrella. She was holding an umbrella above her head. Yeah, you're right. Snow, frost. That's the theme. She's some kind of... Yeah, she looks... The way she's dressed, she looks like a Russian version of the White Queen in Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, but closing out the show today, this is Eric.
Oh!
Play my Josh role still, yeah.
Well, closing out the show today, this is Eric.
This is Kat.
This is Sean.
This is Carl.
And this is Caleb.
And until next time...
If we have to do the time warp again...
Don't panic.
If we have to do the time warp again...
Oh.
Wow.
That's good.
That's nice.
That's good.
Someone else, who's going to say don't panic?
Don't panic.
Yeah. No, I like that. I was watching a Susan Sarandon movie from 1976, like 2 days ago. And even though I've never watched the full Rocky Horror Picture Show, that's all I could think of.
You never seen that, Eric?
I've never watched the movie in full, no. And they were playing it every Friday or Saturday on the big screen in San Antonio for like 30 years straight. And I never saw it.
Yeah, she looked great in that movie. She was very, very cute in that one.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, you should watch this movie, Dragonfly. It's a dramatic role that she did in 1976 with Beau Bridges. Yeah, it's a heavy movie. A lot of psycho themes and of mice and men themes.
Something my Nana would have said. She said that all the time.
It's such a 70s movie, like a little bit of One Up Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You see a 70s drama on dealing with an adult who has autism before that was a household name in diagnoses. It's an interesting movie. It's a Tubi, man. It's a Tubi. Or maybe this was on Freevee, but it's a Tubi. I liked it. It's called Dragonfly, or weirdly, alternate title is like Summer, First Love of Summer, or something like that. But,
I don't know.
But neither of those, that title doesn't have anything to do with what the movie's really about. Anyway.